More Persona games? Check. Continued release cadence with the Persona series? Sign me up. Doubling down on further bolstering Atlus to ensure the continued quality of the Persona series going forward?
Jackpot.
With Persona's 30th anniversary rapidly approaching next year in 2026, Atlus and parent company Sega have announced huge new plans to continue the impressive upward trajectory of the Persona series. Thanks to Sega's recent quarterly earnings report, the publisher is doubling down on Atlus, along with the studios involved with the Sonic franchise and Ryuga Gotoku Studios, known for their Like a Dragon series. We're going to be solely focusing on the report as it pertains to the Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, and Metaphor ReFantazio developer Atlus in this video, as what was announced here marks a bold move at ramping up the creative output of these juggernaut franchises. While no recent revelations have been made about the goings-on of Persona 6, Persona 4 Remake, and other Persona projects rumored to be in development since my last video, what was just announced by Sega is incredible news for its headlining games. And if you're like me who enjoys all these franchises, especially Atlus's games like Persona, this is massive. Throw your tarot cards over at the like button if you're pumped for Persona's 30th anniversary next year. Consider participating in my ongoing giveaway of what may likely be the greatest turn-based RPG of the year in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and use my partner code at Supps to earn 10% off your order. Buy a flavor using my discount link and you'll be rewarded with a complimentary waifu cup, so jump on the opportunity by hitting the link in the description. And with that, let's get into this awesome new quarterly earnings report from Sega. Alright, my fellow fans of Persona and Sega. Sega recently discussed their plans during its quarterly earnings Q&A report for their upcoming fiscal year running between April 2025 and March 2026, outlining huge new changes to their strategy that leaves direct impacts on their three biggest franchises, Sonic, Like a Dragon, and specifically Atlus and Persona, as this is the focus of this video. The plan is currently being formulated, Sega states, but we expect the volume of new titles in full game to be lower than this fiscal year. In the context of the statement, full game is one that is not free to play, meaning that Sega won't be launching as many new titles between now and March 2026. This is entirely expected, seeing as we recently saw huge games like Persona 3 Reload, Metaphor ReFantazio, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, Sonic and Shadow Generations, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, Unicorn Overlord, and other big games from the publisher release all within a year. 2024 was an incredibly stacked year for Sega, so now their big strategy ahead rests in the following statement from Sega as they plan to double down and reinforce the studios behind the games that are performing particularly well. Atlus is an important studio for us to expand Japanese IPs overseas, reported Sega, and we think it is necessary to strengthen it, and the studios involved with the Sonic and Like a Dragon IPs are also short of staff, and we are looking to reinforce personnel through additional hiring and M&A, with M&A referring to mergers and acquisitions. This is amazing news for us Persona fans, and fans of Like a Dragon and Sonic, especially in an industry suffering from widespread layoffs. This is also a case of less is more, as Sega seems to be more interested in trimming down the fluff and focusing more on what it's successful at, creating awesome games. This new strategy in reinforcing its existing studios to release full games moving forward is an absolute win. It is also in this report that we see why Sega is reinforcing these studios in the first place, as these studios saw record-breaking sales from their games over the past fiscal year, pointing to upwards of 20 million sales of these recent games with significant growth of older Atlus games, like Persona 5 Royal and Persona 4 Golden that have skyrocketed the popularity of the Persona series. While we haven't yet gotten the exact number of the Persona series sales from this recent quarterly earnings report, last year during Sega's annual integrated report for 2024 in November revealed that the Persona series has sold 23.5 million copies worldwide across both physical and digital. What makes this all the more impressive is that just a year prior, in June of 2023, Sega announced that the Persona series had sold 17.7 million copies, meaning that the franchise has sold 5.8 million games in less than a year and a half, marking a steep climb in popularity worldwide just these past 2 years alone for the Persona franchise. It was in the November 2024 report that Sega mentioned that the recent growth of the Persona and Like a Dragon franchises is attributed to the multi-platform, simultaneous worldwide releases, in addition to the remaster and spin-off titles. It's just amazing to hear that Atlus and the Persona series have been skyrocketing in popularity recently, and you better believe that both the upcoming Persona 6 and Persona 4 remake are going to continue propelling the Persona series to even greater heights. Tying all this back to the recent Sega quarterly earnings report just days ago, Sega's new strategy of honing down on what has worked with these studios and further strengthening them is a commitment to ensuring that these studios have absolutely everything they need to continue to release incredible games for years to come. And that is something that we should all be celebrating big time. Atlus also has a lot more going on than just Persona, as Shin Megami Tensei released its fastest selling game in Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, and the entirely new JRPG, Metaphor ReFantazio, solidified this new IP as being the fastest selling game in Atlus history, selling north of 1 million copies in a single day. While we don't yet have a clear indication of how many copies of Metaphor have sold since release, Sega reported in this recent quarterly earnings report that the game has seen sales that have been steadily increasing over time, with the company hoping to continue, quote, raising awareness of the title in the future, end quote, so that it can reach even more players. While we don't have any concrete understanding for Metaphor going forward at this point, director Katsura Hashino did mention that he and Studio Zero are already working on an unknown game, and considering the success of Metaphor ReFantazio, I wouldn't be surprised to see another game release in this IP. In fact, earlier this year, various insiders pointed at an extended re-release of the game being developed for a release in the years to come under the name Metaphor ReFantazio Retold, containing an additional dungeon, party members, and expanded story elements. Of course, time will tell if this game gets its re-release, but considering Hashino's role on Personas 3, 4, and 5, those games all got extended re-releases, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to think this re-release streak could apply to a game like Metaphor ReFantazio. Closing out the final bit of noteworthy news from Sega's quarterly report, Sega's president recently revealed that the company is looking into the possibility of launching a subscription service for its games. We're thinking something and discussing something, but we cannot disclose right now, remarked President Shuki Uzumi. I don't know about you all, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sega start their own subscription service, seeing as so many big publishers have already done so. I'll keep buying these awesome games going forward, but this is admittedly pretty big news for Sega if they do have a subscription service in the future, so let me know in the comments if you would be interested in a subscription service for Sega games. Sega is on fire with their recent re-releases, and especially with Persona's massive explosion in popularity over the last few years, Sega is doubling down on strengthening these studios even more so that us fans continue to get more out of the series that we love so much. Sometimes less is more here, and Sega has a clear understanding of that right now. So while we may have to wait for 2026 to roll around to get that much anticipated Persona 6 during Persona's 30th anniversary, the wait will likely be more than worth it. With a remake of Persona 4 heavily rumored to be in development, along with Atlus themselves stating that they would love to revisit Persona 1 and 2 in the future, Sega's commitment to ensuring Atlus and its various other studios' success is nothing short of incredible. Let me know your thoughts on this recent Sega quarterly report in the comments, and follow me over to this video as we go through an extensive look at everything confirmed and rumored to be coming to the Persona series for its upcoming 30th anniversary next year and beyond. That's all I've got for you in this one, my friends. I'll see you all real soon in the next video.